Let's see if I can get that up here.
Oh, man.
We've used a lot of them. Percocet Patty, she's known to her friends. That's a classic.
People are going to start believing this about me, Dan.
Some of these are so bad. Some of these just, they make absolutely no sense. I also liked half Rand Fishkin, half Randy Savage.
Good one.
That's one of my favorites. I thought that was pretty good. There's got to be a joke in there about, like, I can't even think of it. Boz, like instead of Boz Skaggs, it's Moz Skaggs. I don't even know. I have no idea what I would say. One. It's really bad, though. All right. Oh, it's 12. All right. You want to do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you doing this? You really want to do this right now? Patty?
Yeah, I do.
All right, let's do this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's SEO and IPA. It's the fun weekly hangout about inbound marketing, entrepreneurship, and more for cool people of all shapes, stripes, and colors. As always, I'm Daniel Barrett from Two Friendly Nerds. That's TWO, friendlynerds.com. And with me, as always, is the brains behind the operation, officially the only reason anyone watches this show, currently the only beta user of Google++. It's Patty D'Alessio from reinventinteractive.com. Patty, how are you, my wonderful friend?
I'm terrific. That was a good one, Dan. I like that. Google++.
Google++. What's the difference between Google+ and Google++? What are some of the sweet new features they're rolling?
I was just going to ask you.
It's like, well...
there's more math.
Yeah, you have circles. There are also squares.
Yeah.
And you could put your circles inside the squares, but you can't put the squares inside the circles.
Right.
And they're rolling out a new feature where you know how currently they have Google Hangouts. Well, yeah. Soon you'll be able to do Google Hang-Ups.
Yes.
Which are
share your issues.
Mild insecurities and anxieties that you broadcast live. I could keep going with this.
That's actually. You know what else they call that is Facebook.
you post your insecurities live.
Yeah.
For the world to see.
For the world to see.
I told you about Guy Space, right? We talked about Guy Space. Yeah, Guy Space.
I love it.
Oh, God. I got to put that up. If I put it up as a joke,
yes,
it will take off.
It will.
In real life. And I'll be like, oh, my God, how do I monetize the traffic? And I'll, like, pop up banner ads, and people will leave, and I'll be ruined.
And Guy Space was Bromail, and what was the other one?
No. It was you filled out your bro file, and you sent each other email.
I love it.
God, I think it's really funny. Anyway, I saw a funny Facebook reference. I got into reading comic books recently. Sort of got into comic books after a long, long time, and
yeah,
there was a scene where like these two villains, they're like these two massive like killer assassin guys. They're hunting down the hero, and there's a scene with them where they're like getting out of the truck and they're loading out these like gigantic knives and like a bazooka, and they're going to go kill this guy. And they're just kind of chatting amongst each other. And he's like, one of them says to the other one, is like, I can't believe you would just go and friend him like that after what he did to you. And he's like, dude, what did you want me to do? He poked me like 1,000 times. And I'm like, that's great. That's really funny. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, anyway. So, Patty, let's talk about beer. Because...
Yes. You better have a beer today, Dan.
I do have a beer. I don't know if it's not going to give me beer cred, but I do have a beer. So let's talk about your beer.
Oh, mine? Okay.
What do you got for it?
I forget which one of us has done this beer, but this has been, we have spoken about this previously.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure I did.
Little something.
Still I'm pretty sure, my favorite beer.
Is it? This one?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I love it.
You know, it's good. It's really good. I like it. It's well, we know these guys, right? We've done shout-outs to them before. Big fans. They're in Petaluma, California. I think I'm saying that right. And yeah, I like it. It's here's what it looks like. Right? Mine is actually warm. Mine never made it to the fridge, but yeah, it's fine. It's good actually. It's good.
Is that a thing? Who drinks warm beer? That's a thing, right?
Yeah, I don't like beer too cold though, to be honest.
Really? I need it cold, really.
No,
I mean, I know that makes me a jerk because it kills the taste or something. You can't taste as much.
Well, there's a whole end of the flavor spectrum that you're not getting when it's like ice cold. And the worst thing is when, remember the whole fad with the frosted mugs and the frosted pint glasses or whatever, and you get your beer and there's ice floating in it. It's like horrible. I hate that. I send it back. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
I mean, that's a little much. That's a little much.
I'm a little bit of a jerk when it comes to that. But anyway, this is fantastic. To you, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Beer ice cubes.
No. What are you drinking today, Mike?
I am drinking today. So my whole story for today, I went out to get beers specifically for the show. And typically, what I'll do is I'll pick up one of those make your own 6-pack kind of thing. And but I don't know. You're down in Pennsylvania. I'm up in Connecticut. So I don't know if this is the same with you guys. But this past week, it was cold. It got cold, kind of. Like, especially in the mornings. Like, I had a hoodie on. And I went running, and I had the dog and running, and I was running past these trees in a park by my house, and some of the leaves had started changing.
No.
And then the next day, I went to the grocery store.
Pumpkin beer everywhere.
Pumpkin beers everywhere.
Yep. Here.
And I was like, not safe for work, so mute it. And I'll give you a second to mute it if you're at work. I was like, fuck you. Because I still feel like I'm recovering from last winter, which was like one of the crappiest winters.
Oh, I know.
And so I was just like, no, I'm not ready for this. So I went out and I bought just what is to me the quintessential for me summer beer, which is Corona Light.
Oh, wow.
Because here's the thing. When I started drinking very late in life, I mean, I think I had my first drink when I was 28, 29.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to like, it was like a project. I was like, I am going to teach myself to enjoy alcoholic beverage. Because I didn't. And, it's like if you don't develop the taste, it's just like, like whatever.
I have to tell you, I hear your words, I just don't understand what you're saying.
No, you always like the alcoholic. Yeah, I mean, maybe you got.
I don't know.
I didn't have the gene. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if it was a moment in time or what, but I didn't have that issue.
I mean, for like a year, I was trying to drink wine, and I would be like, sip, sip, and then I'd be like, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
So, in any case, I had to teach myself to drink beer, and that first summer, Corona was the first kind of. It was the first non-flavored beer I could actually drink. Yeah. And it's one of those beers where the light version isn't particularly good, but just like a regular Corona, it's one of those beers where I associate it in my head with like being at a picnic, like you're just doing stuff, you're standing around, you've got a cooler full of beer, and it's that kind of beer. And I think there's really something to be said for that. I mean, I love, like I said, like Lil Something's my favorite beer. I love that beer. I can drink like one or two of those, right? Yeah. I can't go to a picnic and drink that beer because I'll have to leave that picnic, being carried off by someone, whatever. So
that's what session beers are all about now. They're the non-Coronas.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be much better versions of what this is. But to me, this is. If I see these around, I'm like, it's summer. That's what it is.
Wait, did you actually get Corona Light?
It is Corona Light. That's all I have.
Forget it. Fail. Fail. I'm not buying it.
I like it.
I call bullshit.
I'm cutting back on my calories. I'm putting on baby weight now. After we had the baby, because we eat like, first of all, everyone brought us all this food. They brought us like 9,000 pounds of chocolate and food and stuff. Yeah. And then the schedule's all messed up. And I'll tell you what, Yeah, I'm coming. I'll tell you, I've got to go check on my wife. Why don't you introduce the articles this week, Patty, and I'll be right back.
Oh, the articles you chose. Okay.
Okay.
Right back. Oh, that's really funny. Okay, so we have two articles. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to put these in the little sidebar here. What is it? Not control room. Give me just a second, guys. The showcase. Okay, so I'm gonna paste them here into the showcase. So the first article we have today is an open letter to the new SEO generation. So this is sort of in response to a couple really well-known SEOs. Hold on, I can't do that. I'll put it in the Q&A maybe. A couple well-known SEOs sort of declaring that they're getting out of SEO, that they're no longer doing SEO. The article actually links to a couple of those. Let's see. Here, I'll put this in for Dan. Maybe he can do that when he gets back. So yeah, so the first one is an open letter to the new SEO generation. It's really actually quite interesting. It's a little more philosophical. We kind of go in this direction, Dan and I, every now and then, about what is SEO? Is SEO dead? What are we doing? How are we contributing to the universe? You know, that kind of level. But the article makes some really great points that we'll have to talk about. And the second article is Surviving Without Snippets, Your New Video SEO Strategy. And I'm going to look to Dan to talk about this second article some more. But I'm going to paste them here. I'm not sure if you can see these. We'll definitely have them on the recap and on the replay. We'll make sure that we have these links to the articles today. But yeah, so an open letter to the new SEO generation is interesting. So I'll share the article. Let's see if I can share my screen here. Here we go. All right, so here's the article. And he really talks about promising the moon but delivering the everything bagel, which I thought was cute. I don't know if that's some kind of meme or not, but I don't know. I've never seen that before. But you know, totally funny. Here it discusses two really well-known folks that were in SEO that kind of got out. That's Jill Whalen and Jonathan Coleman, and links to their sort of blog post about how they're getting out of SEO. And then he talks about really what SEO is and kind of what it isn't. So he goes on, he starts with SEO is marketing, then moves on to SEO is relevance, SEO is strategic, SEO is rational, kind of goes on here. SEO is, relational. SEO is frustrating. We've talked about that. Oh, SEO is relevance. Relational. I really liked a line that he made here that he said that, you know, the fundamental problem with the way that we've always searched is that we use language, and that language by definition is imperfect and ambiguous. So I thought that was you know, really interesting, and he's citing the hummingbird algorithm change and saying that is where Google, you know, made a really big shift, in that they're taking the language and the key phrases that we're searching on and making, you know, some inferences and trying to, you know, poke a little bit more into intent instead of being, you know, kind of as literal. So I thought that was an interesting thing. But anyway, the article is huge. It goes on, you know, how it's collaborative, how it's holistic, and then sort of ends with a, you know, can't wait to see what's next. You know, it's kind of like handing over the, you know, passing the gauntlet onto the new SEO generation. The article also links to this, which I thought was interesting. So it's introducing the knowledge graph. So this is sort of Google's position on some of these similar algorithmic changes, which I thought was interesting. And then here was the second article. So this talks about surviving without snippets, your new video SEO strategy, and it says that this, you know, it's kind of discussing how, you know, the snippets that we used to use, you know, the authoring tags and those sort of rich snippets, Google, you know, we've discussed this in past weeks, that Google has taken away that image, that author tag image, and how that's an issue, and that there's a lot of speculation that the reason they took down that authoring tag image is that it was actually it was working so well that it was taking away clicks from paid advertising, which was a problem. Hey there, Dan.
Hey, sorry. My baby shot poop all over my wife.
Awesome.
Yeah. Fun time.
So,
As in, like, everywhere. But
I hope you can laugh to that kind of stuff. So
I can laugh. So where are we at, boss? What are you showing us?
All right, boss. I started with I introduced the article, sort of the passing the gauntlet on to the new generation of SEOs, which is this first article. It just kind of went through the big ideas here. Then
I just shared the link to this article to people that are viewing us live on Google Plus right now. I just showed the link to this article. Hopefully you should see this. Also, we should say too, I don't know if you said this, Patty, that if you guys have questions that you want us to talk about on the air, you can pop it into a comment on Google Plus, and we'll see it in the app here, and we'll answer your questions live on the air. So let us know if you have anything you'd like to ask. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
So I just went into the two articles. The first, I find really interesting. It's kind of philosophical in nature. It talks about what SEO is, how it's changed over time. I feel like there's been so much discussion and articles written about this that it never gets boring, only because SEO is changing so much. But I liked this. I don't know how you came across this article. I just want to say, Dan, you chose this week's topics.
Yeah.
Is this a meme you've seen before, the moon versus the everything bagel?
No. Is that a thing?
Okay. Good. I don't know. I'm not always up on the newest memes, but I don't know. It feels like I should have seen this before.
No.
This is where he says, you're promising the moon but delivering the everything bagel, kind of the problem with SEO. Let's see. Anyway, I liked this a lot. I quoted my favorite quote, which is that the problem with search is that it's language-based as opposed to intent or inference. It's imperfect and ambiguous language at the root. So I thought that was an interesting point. He mentions to do SEO well, you need to actually. It's probably worth reading out loud. But he says to test and test again, and and then throw it all out and start over. It's kind of this. Just because, here it is, just because someone you respect said that a title tag has to be this many characters, you should still test and you should still, do your own research. And that a lot of this is research-based. Let's see here.
Yeah, you know what I thought was most interesting, the thing I sort of thought about, was that he's saying, like, the internet's 20, SEO is what he's saying is 20 years old. And so there are people coming onto the scene now who have never known. It's one of those like, oh, I'm old moments.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I remember sort of learning about the internet, learning about computers, and
right.
Really have to scrounge around for information and watching this whole kind of thing develop, right? But there are people coming in now who sort of missed that first part. So they're kind of coming into what it is right now, right? And the difference I always think about is, like, we talk about how SEO is holistic, and SEO involves, marketing, and it involves sales, and it involves advertising, and it involves social media, and there's all these things that sort of get wrapped up in this idea. But to me, when I think SEO, even though I know that that's what SEOs do now, what we do now, right, for people all the time. Yeah. To me, SEO is still tweaking the code on a website. That's what it's always been to me. Like, to me, SEO means what is now termed technical SEO.
Yeah.
And more and more and more, we see technical SEO kind of if not becoming obsolete, just becoming less and less important. And anyway, I think that really kind of struck me. I was like, all right, there's a new generation of people coming into the SEO field. That's interesting because for the longest time there was only one, and it was the one I was in because we're the only people that the internet just started.
Right.
So I just thought that was really interesting. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty
It's
cool.
shifting. It's no longer just technical SEO, right? In fact, that's what this article is claiming, and the position it's making, right, is that it needs
Well,
to
to
be
me,
all of
that's
these things.
real SEO is technical SEO. Everything else is a bunch of BS. You heard it here first.
Oh, stop it! Listen,
It doesn't work.
this is Dan's get off my lawn moment.
Well, yeah, and so it's funny though because, and this is something I've always felt, and it's completely unfair and irrational. So I'll put that out there. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
it's valid, but I have always drawn a line in my head between what I do as like I'd be like I do SEO.
Mm-hmm.
There's that on one side, and then on the other side, there's people that do social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always like, the difference is that I know how to do an actual thing,
Yeah.
and the people that do social media are just unemployed teens. You know what I mean? Like that's always kind of like my mindset. Like I actually have a skill.
Mm.
You just have some extra time.
Right.
And that's not fair, obviously. But that comes from that idea, that attitude's a holdover from where SEO comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because SEO used to be much more, I think, of a hard skill. Not like hard as in difficult, but hard as in concrete.
Yeah.
Right? And now it's much more just about marketing, which marketing itself is awesome and really fascinating, but it's not a hard skill in the sense of like a scientific skill or a technological skill.
Right.
It's more of an art than it is a science, no matter how much we want to apply science to it. And you know, we could talk about conversion rates all day, but in the end, I mean, SEO now is much more like Mad Men, at least to me, than it was like a bunch of nerds with pocket protectors being like, make your code semantic or whatever, whatever. So anyway, not to digress, but yeah, get off my lawn, I think is the culmination of this.
It is. I feel like that's what you're saying. You know, but I have to say, I have always gotten quite defensive about. This is all turning just philosophical. I don't know how valuable this is to anybody else, so I apologize. But I've always felt almost overqualified as an SEO. Honestly, I'll just put it out there. I'll just put it out there. I don't know many SEOs with a degree in information systems who spent years as a project manager building really large-scale, websites and working closely with engineers and information architects and graphic designers. You know what I mean? Like so it was. And then as it turns out, there's a very low barrier to entry to this field, and that's where the whole sleazy snake oil salesman SEO, reputation has come about. So I'm always, I've got my hackles up. I'm like, always go into these conversations defensive. Like, there's SEOs, but then there's people that are actually in the know and that are technical enough to, work on and understand how Google algorithms think through, websites.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the barrier to entry to putting a website out there is also very, very low and has been getting lower and lower and lower. And it's just a matter of, grabbing a free template and throwing stuff up there. So you can make very poor websites and poorly optimized websites and, really, really off base from anything that's going to be found or drive the right kind of traffic or audience, right? So, I don't know. Picking up with my existential crisis that's happening live on air here.
Yeah, well, and I think it applies to the broader industry for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to a certain extent, I share your opinions, but at the same time, I realize they're just my opinions and whatever. I'm not saying it applies to anyone, whatever. I'm not really saying that all social media managers are unemployed 22-year-olds who live in their parents' basement and.
Yeah.
I mean, I did just say that, but I'm not saying it's true. But to another extent, too, insisting that there's this really intense technological side to what we do, and that only we know how to do it well.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a way for us to protect our income. Right? You're basically saying, you don't meet our standards.
Yeah.
I know what WYSIWYG stands for. You know, like, and you know whether or not that's going to hold up is one thing. I wanted to talk real quick, transitioning a little bit out of
this mess.
feelings, this therapy session, which I feel like the majority of these hangouts.
See, I would call this a shit show, but what you were actually just excused yourself to go do was actually a real shit show.
That was an actual shit show. My son was like, "Would you like to see what the inside of me looks like?"
And wear it.
I wanted to talk about this other article, which I'm going to put up on screen now. If you're watching this on the Google Hangout, you can see this thing that we're sharing.
We also have a question, Dan. I don't know if you saw that.
We have a question. I didn't see that. Let me pull up the question right now. Okay, so Shannon Myers says, there has to be some new title for person who just keeps up with all this SEO, social media, coding, etc. Yes, it's a consultant, Sharon. That's what you can call yourself. It sounds impressive, but it's not actually saying you know how to do anything, which is why I use it. So I can say...
No. You know what I would call those people? Our viewers.
What? Viewers? Our viewers?
Our viewers are the ones who are keeping up with all the changes that are happening. But I understand her question. It's like, who do you go to? Who's the expert that knows at this moment, because they're read up on all this stuff, what to do, what not to do, what's going to harm you, what's going to work.
And that's why...
title, I get it.
Yeah, and if you guys have watched this at all, if you're watching these sort of industry numbers, the consulting industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And it is I mean, I think it doubled in the last 15 years. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is that because, and Shannon, she almost kind of sounds like she's being like funny, but it's really true. Things change so rapidly that you need someone who's just like, that doesn't actually work anymore. Yeah. Case in point, which was Shannon. Thank you so much for the comment, Shannon. Actually, this is a perfect segue. Case in point, Google has stopped displaying video-rich snippets in search results, and instead only YouTube videos are getting sort of the rich snippet display. So for those of you guys that aren't totally familiar with what I'm talking about, rich snippets are a kind of code that you can put on your website that sort of designates to Google what that kind of common way to do it was. You would sort of say, hey, Google, this is a video that's on my website right now. And in turn, Google would display a little shot of that video with a little thing in the search results. So without even clicking onto your site, I could see the little screenshot of the video and see that it was a video. And they were shown in a lot of different studies to really drive click-through rates up. So it was a very common tactic to use. You take up more of the search result. And stopped displaying that. Actually, right after Google stopped displaying authorship markup in search results, which was something that Google itself actually. So they've stopped showing rich snippets for video, and they've moved that all to YouTube. So YouTube is now the only source for these search results. And I was actually really surprised, because usually when Google does something, it's defensible in the sense that, like, it's making the data more interesting, it's making the data more engaging, it's making it more valuable. This just seems like a naked power grab for YouTube, because now YouTube video results are the only video results, and correct me if I'm wrong, that will get this sort of added feature. And usually Google's not so, I would think, naked in its...
transparently self-serving, right.
Surprised by this. So the video, or the article that we're sharing now is by Wistia, which is a video hosting company, which of course that's going to hurt their business, talking about what you can do for video SEO in the meantime. But I was just really surprised. I mean, that's a fairly massive change. I mean, do you agree?
Yeah, and I think the SEO, looking at this from an SEO point of view, you know, where I see the problem being is that they're then driving this video search traffic right to YouTube as opposed to possibly the site that it's embedded in, or maybe back to the page that you desire it to go to, right? Yeah, you're right. Right? It is.
So it's, again, if you're using videos for SEO, the question then becomes, well, okay, is it going to be so much more valuable to host the video with YouTube that now I'm going to send the traffic to YouTube rather than sending it to my own page, which just seems out of nowhere with me, right? Because Google is the one that drove this mass adoption of micro formats and rich snippets, right? By including that rich snippet data in its search results, but now it's just like, well, now it's not good. It's not as good for us, so we're going to roll it back. But I would argue for most cases, a searcher to view a video on YouTube than for anywhere else. I mean, why wouldn't it be more valuable to get the video in the context of the actual website that produced the video? It just seems really kind of distasteful. I was actually kind of surprised. So it's
those other non-YouTube hosting and, you know, individual websites that contain videos, they're still coming up in search. They're just not having the video snippet, right? Is that what?
They don't get the rich data in the search result. Yeah, so you can still rank, but you're not going to get the video, image, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Now, Dan, what I think this is, you know, we talked earlier about the reason that the authoring tag is no longer on search results, right? The little image of the author tag is because it was performing better than the paid search. So now if you take that to the next level, they're offering these video snippets, but it may not necessarily be competing with revenue, because once you click into that and you're on YouTube, then you're in that marketplace for video advertising, right?
Now you're watching video. Now you're watching ads on YouTube.
Now you're watching ads on YouTube. So it's not competing where the authoring clearly was, and this is just moving that potential revenue and eyeballs to another Google, you know, property. Damn, Google.
Google.
Dude, I don't know. I tweeted a picture yesterday. I was in a store, and on the back of the register there was a big round circle that said, was it look for us on Google or see us on Google or something like that? Did you happen to see it? I just started cracking up. I'm like, what is the purpose of that? All right, now I have to look it up. Hold on, you have to bear with me. It was check us out on Google. A big circle that said check us out on Google. And I was like, have you ever seen anything like that before?
Well, is it one of those? Google used to send out the whole Google local thing. They used to send out like big window decals and stuff.
This is not even that could be what this is, like a holdover. But I was like, what is it? Like leave the store and go Google us and see what kind of comes up. Like it wasn't even a Google local thing. It was just anyway. I just thought that was very, very.
We should make stickers that say check out our competitors on Google.
Yeah, exactly. Check us out on Google. I don't know. I thought that, you know, it would have been much better, you know, see us online, you know, like us on Facebook or.
Right, it's Google Plus. Maybe they're saying Google Plus. You review it.
Google Plus. I'm looking at the picture. No, it's.
I was there. I saw it in real life.
Damn it, Dan.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, I can show you. It was like crazy.
Let me wrap this up because we're over time, and I just want. Oh wait, let me show that. Let's see. What does it look like?
Can you see?
Check us out on Google.
Have you ever seen anything?
Yeah,
like
I'm sure Google sent them. They must have sent them that.
Yeah, but that's just weird. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
We digress.
Yeah, this is a sticker. It says we are listed in Google.
Yeah, but
we made it.
Like
looks like we made it. first page of Google, and just like confetti like releases from the ceiling and.
Very strange.
Okay.
Very strange.
Well,
okay, you gonna wrap up?
Yeah, I am gonna wrap up. First of all, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. If you tuned in halfway through this episode, or you want to check out any of our past episodes, you can go to twofriendlynerds.com/hangout. That's TWO friendlynerds.com/hangout to find all our past episodes, or go on YouTube, which we were just talking about, and type in SEO and IPA, and you can find us that way.
Or check us out on Google.
Yeah, check us out on Google. We are listed in the Googles.
Yeah.
You can find us on the first and third page of a Google, depending on which Google you Google. So check that out as well. And we are back here next week at Wednesday noon Eastern Standard Time, same bat time, same bat channel, so please check us out then as well. Patti DeLessio from reInvent Interactive, thank you as always. Thank you for covering me during Poop Explosion 2014. I really appreciate that. And if anybody wants to let me know if there's a brand of diaper that actually keeps poop inside the baby, let me know. This thing like tuck up into him, and it just won't let him poop at all. That's the kind of diaper that I want. Dan Bear from twofriendlynerds.com, obviously. Patti, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too, dear.
Cheers, and I will cheers you with.
Forget it.
I believe known as the champagne of beers.
No, that's awful.
Thank you guys, as always. We really appreciate it. And optimize
responsibly. Yes.
Right. You're so bad.
I hate you.
So bad at doing that. Guys, we love you. We'll see you next week. Have an awesome time, and we'll talk to you soon.